Good evening. The witching hour approaches, and today, boys and girls, we're going to compile along and prosper by installing Gentoo Linux. Why the hell would you want to do that? Well, you can do some pretty cool stuff with this and configure it very much so more flexibly. So I'm running LWilcat. Makes so you have console RGB. I like the console RGB. It's pretty chill. And running Pulse Audio and running a media studio. Man, people struggling without Pulse Audio. I feel for you. What? You don't have to be the guy that's stuck with that, because you can configure what audio applications and interfaces you want to use. So some distros are trying to really push on using Pipewire. Pipewire is great. Yeah, sure, it's a great new thing to have one of those. It was exciting when Jack was new. And, Jack still exists as well. Or both. Working on a similar vision. More complicated purposes. Whereas, I don't know, Pulse Audio kind of just works. It obeys, the volume meters and everything, and recognizes devices, and you pick which one's your default, and it just works because it's supported. Not as complicated, easier to ensure works very well, and the default with this Gentoo Linux build that I'm running, right, doesn't include audio. These two lines, right, disables the server on Pipewire and enables the server on Pulse Audio. So Pulse Audio runs, and then you just set it as a system service. And you could switch back and forth between them. But other distros, you can't do that. You can't go, hey, well, now I want to use Pipewire instead because I'm starting to do audio production. And then I won't be able to save this and show you, but you get the idea, right? It would do it. You do cancel a check. I'll try if I can show you something similar. X. No, I don't want to save. Masked. Not sure. Not something I use VS Code, but I was trying to look for packaging that would not be something I have installed already. And I'm really coming up with some blanks. Jeez, I think it would be hard to find. About NGINX, the web browser or web server. You do a check after making a change, does this little calculating dependencies thing, and it tells you what it needs to change. Aha, right? So to configure all of the options available for NGINX, you know, and there's a lot of them I don't have installed by default that could be possibly useful. But you know, again, I'm not actively using NGINX on this computer. Right? It's not a server, or well, not its real common purpose. But yeah, I would have to reconfigure MIME types and include NGINX support, right? And then that could be used by NGINX. So configure this change, and then it would show that all of the stuff's been satisfied. Or if you wanted to add broadly support, because I don't know, cauliflower maybe. And you could just add that in an optional configuration. But anyways, you know, there's a lot of stuff you can customize with this, especially like QEMU, libvirt, virt manager, you know, and I want to just do like a pretend and show me the results. Oops, and I typed it. Aha, and there we go. And so all of the stuff that's configured in this build is like OpenGL, NUMA, you know, compression different supports, advanced processing stuff, you know, all of the audio support except for jack and no pipe wire. Because I don't even think it might not support pipe wire. Maybe, maybe not. I don't see pipe wire, and maybe another reason why I don't use pipe wire because I use QEMU a lot. Yeah, well, there we go. And that is exactly pretty much the mission for today. Is to compile long and prosper. So we are going to download a file. Not that file, but how about instead, definitely in this one. I'm going to find a Gentoo live CD real quickly. Sure. Downloading more? No. I don't want to download more. And live GUI. Right there. Here we go. I don't know. Copy link. And then we wget. from the main server over Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi. There we go. It's at 200. It's pretty good. Media check? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're a little. Need some more work. So, we'll see if we can move this to evidently I cannot. So, there we go. Jackpot. $24. We'll give it 24 gigs of RAM. 24. I don't know, that seems like a lot. $16,384. There we go. That's a pretty healthy system. With a 5900X Ryzen 9 CPU. Underneath, I don't use this system for this very often, but it's fun when I get to. So we're not going to do the custom thing. I want storage for it, but I don't want to just create it wherever. I'm going to select a place, and that place will be a specific pair of disks with a specific pair of skills. I got 400 gigs left in that. Or I have 80 gigs on the main one. The main one is much faster, but that's not really a big deal because we got memory. We've got memory. Memory errors happen though. So we'll go with the disk option, because this system sometimes likes to throw sig faults. I've not got the right infinity fabric ratio or something configured yet. One day maybe I'll figure that out before I'm retired. So, I know that Deadpool has that much free. The default one though, it's 80 gigs and it's an SSD. This is a pair of SSD disks. So, we're going to create a new volume. Why would I need anything else? And we need 40 gigabytes, which will be too much, but you know, and we're going to create a sparse volume, not allocate at all. So the actual space used will be closer to probably about 7 gigabytes. We're going to choose that, and next. I'm going to get a drink here pretty quickly, fairly soonish. Right? And we're going to do bridge. And we want to use for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to do NAT, because I don't have a bridge interface on this thing that it wouldn't be complicated to configure at the moment, or wouldn't require me rebooting. There, that's the thing. And testing network interfaces, well, you know how that goes. It just starts eating through your time, and you get disinterested in doing it, and you do something else instead. So we're going to do this. I'm going to choose the bias description file, and I'm going to use this one. QEMU's provided secboot secure code bias, like ROM file for Q35, and you know, we got our 8 CPUs. Good. Sometimes this is reset by the time you get to open this, and don't get to click apply yet. So that's good to see that the ISO that we selected for booting from to start the installation has been set. And we're just going to use a SPICE server, and this will get populated when I start it. I haven't begun the installation yet, so this will get set to its defaults. So don't muck around with the OpenGL stuff quite yet. Right? Good. The good sound is used now by default, which is cool. It should be ICH9. I don't know if they'll ever do a newer sound or audio driver for this, but it works good. Just like this too. And you want a QXL video card, right? Start your install, get it building, and then you can add these other things like using VirtIO with 3D acceleration, and then once it's started, you can go back into here and change the SPICE server listen address to none, and you get a user interface with a virtualized graphics card kind of thing, and it kind of works good, but it's very limited. It is accelerated, but it's limited. Yeah, so we just use QXL as the hardware graphics card, virtualized hardware. It's this, I don't know, not accelerated in the same way as a VirtIO would be, but you know, you're still able to like watch a YouTube video with it. Beats me. It's cool though. Or with this, you can add a trusted platform module, emulated one. And I want to do TIS and version 2, right? Ta-da! There. Now we're secure computing enabled. It's like, geez, man, you can add whole network controller dedicated to this, you know, and that's whatever network that virtual machine is connected to. Oh, you can add all kinds of stuff to this. Input devices, tablet, USB keyboard, yeah. So, well, shall we? Aha. I have a crazy idea or two before or after midnight. Like doing this at midnight. So I can't copy and paste between my web browser and this. So I know that I can connect to an IP address that's provided by my local machine in a console terminal, right? So I'm going to find out what the IP address is by starting console, right? So I know it's it is not. So yeah, fun. Okay, well, I have to change it. Yeah, and then you go over to this tab, and I'll go down to network configuration, and I want to change this to Yeah, I think we'll just do that. I was trying to see if I could make a bridge easily, but I'm not able to choose the Wi-Fi interface in here to add it to a bridge. I guess I just don't use this very often. Possibly. I mean, I'm not doing InfiniBand. That would be pretty wild. I've almost done that, but that would be pretty wild. IPsec. Bridge. Create. No, I'm working on trying to prevent a little disaster right now. Working on it. Well, I gotta get Blade server finished, and then I've got places to test the server and ensure that, you know, there's a backup of the important stuff. We've prevented that from happening once already. Actually, no, twice. Right? So. The software updates would have been the cherry on top of the cake. No, if you hadn't done it, just a matter of time. It's nation state stuff. Like they're fucking scanning the internet looking for vulnerable machines, sending emails. You got attacked, and they got you. That's it. You're done. Anyways, supposed to be making a video here. I got distracted. We're gonna give this another try. Boot. SATA. I bet the SATA reset. Yep. I should have done this on my server, because one of the reasons I also mentioned is I don't do this on this machine very often is exactly for this reason, because the networking is Wi-Fi, and well, it's got internet. That's good. So that was actually, I wasn't expecting that to work. Honestly wasn't. Yeah, 192. Nope, still can't get to it. Well, that's fine. I'll make an exception. Let's go up a little ways. We want to still have the 16:9 aspect ratio, and it fits on the screen fairly nicely. Right, and the next one would be full resolution. Let's do it. There we go. So, welcome to Gentoo. This is a virtual machine. You know, and it's still that's pretty decent. this is the virtual machine. Aha, so we do this. Boom, we're in. Hello. We've got one disk. There we go. Now we're full screened. So we don't have a partition label yet. See, it says partition table unknown. Gotta label it. GPT. There we go. Now it's not unknown. So we're gonna start making some partitions now. Now this is for UEFI boot configuration. So using GPT, there's no limit on primary partitions. So you can make 20 of them if you were that intense, and maybe you had a reason to. But you know, a lot of people now just use data set pool volumes. They're a lot more flexible, and data integrity is cool. But you know, and we'll do the name is ESP file system is FAT32, and we're going to start at 0% and go to 5, 1, and 3, and that'll be displayed as 512, which is an accurate unit of measure for a mechanical hard drive or computer storage. 512. And we're going to replicate that. So in the next one, we'll start at 513 and go, and we're going to create a swap partition. And to do that, we'll get our little friend over here again, right? So I want 16 gigs of swap. No, I need to go more like 4, right? So I'm going to add I think it's 4092, right? Isn't it? Oops. Times 4 is, 4096, right? And then we're going to add 513. Our next block bought in will be of a partition will be at 4609. This is going to be swap Linux -swap. Aha, now it's starting to fill up. Okay. So I'm going to do simple stuff just for this. Not going to use OpenZFS. I have guides for doing that elsewhere if you want to look at that on Gentoo forums or Gentoo, my Gentoo wiki profile. Links to that. So we're just going to do, or not BTFS as well. This is more of just, let's get an install going. And I'm certainly not being brisk about this because I need a drink. 64, and we're going to go from 4609 to 100%. give up a block just to have that go away. I'm satisfied with that, right? So we've got our file system partition tables created. Let's get out of here, and then one. How is that working with these days? No, not at all, man. VA3. Ta-da! Dum-dum-dum. And then we just start mounting. So this live CD, despite being from a Gentoo live CD, doesn't have the Gentoo directory. So and we can't do mount because of that overlay directory. If you mount something to mount, this live CD will freeze. Yeah, hard as pea in snow. So we have to make this directory, or use a different one than what is already there as a subdirectory. But you know, this is pretty common for Gentoo, so VA3, not 34. There we go. And then we're going to download. So we're going to do system deinstall, and we want to choose this. Want to choose merged user, a merged user one. But I'm looking for plasma, but there really isn't. I don't think plasma. So we're getting warmer. Merged user. Here we go. There's a lot of these for Gentoo now. It's quite a lot to really understand what you need to choose nowadays. People have become very, very experimental with this, and it's pretty astounding. I want to copy that link, and then I'm going to download from from my web server on the same machine. Well, no, actually, it's not the same machine. Same network. Ta-da! And we're done. And then you know, one of the benefits of using this live CD is you have the ability to do this. I can't copy from my main machine, but I don't need to, because now I wasn't expecting the internet to work, and it's working. I can't connect to it from my host machine to the VM like I kind of do often, but I can connect everything else from this. So, or at least the internet, and from there I can get back into my own network. So what I want to do is get the command to install the stage 3 and unpacking. So I've already completed by doing that, right? Four chapters just to get to this part, this spot where I'm about to type this command and populate the file system. The birth of a Gentoo Linux machine. And it's only Wednesday. Just. Well. Ta-da. We get some Rust. Pre-built Rust. That's good. You know, building Rust is becoming intense. It's a very, very capable language, Rust, as I understand it. Or I'm not a user of it. More like user of what's created with it, and not a lot more than that. Well, that's kind of what I am in a lot of this anyways, though. So there's a setting that I want to add to this. But right, and then I've got this, just a text file on my web server. You know, I used like, kind of doesn't look like a shell scripts, right, to run these. So, and that mounts the other file systems before you use Chroot, just by doing this. Oh, oops. SH. And now we're ready to go. We have Chroot. So then we have to copy some DNS information, because in the next section, copying the DNS info. We'll just copy and paste. You know, I can be lazy about this. I did this first anyway because I got that script, so I don't have to copy and paste and type all of that, right? So we're just gonna copy that single file to that destination, and that will set the DNS server. So we're mounted. We just have to Chroot. It's like an hour, man. No, not at all. You can do it. Sure you can, man. Some fucking super nerd. Yeah, so we're just going to merge. Actually, I'm going to list the system profiles. I need to add the portage files, and there's a merge to web rsync. Is the faster one. It downloads just single files from the web servers. Once I get this thing configured to use my web server mirror, it'll be like instant 30 dirty amounts of megabytes per second. I don't know, I think the local host over this might even be 10 gigabit. It's kind of crazy between virtual machine and host. So if you've got a newer machine, that is. So now we can see the system profiles. We're going to go to profile number 11, which is the merged user plasma system D instead of desktop. So it's good we've got some of the desktop stuff done, but we're going to bump it up a notch and go for KDE. Oops. So, well, we'll have to do this later. Well, actually, you know what? Pardon me. Maybe I don't. No, don't save the modified buffer. Go to my GitHub and download that GitHub file that I put there with the configurations for these. There you go. I've got a bunch of shell scripts in here. Some NVIDIA configuration files, IP table stuff, and Gentoo installs. But what I'm interested in is this. Is this file. And I want it in raw format so that I can see this. Exactly this. I wouldn't remember how to do this if I didn't keep examples online on my GitHub page, or it would take me longer to research and create these files again, and to so we're going to delete the default file, right? Cat that looks like this. It's totally unconfigured. Like, its balls haven't dropped yet, and it's still using XFS. It's that bad, or that lacking purpose. So, right, and then once we get this, we only have to edit, So I don't want the RAM disk for building software to be only 4 gigabytes. I want it to be 14 gigabytes. And know that on this machine I will be using boot for this. I might as well like do this while I'm here, you know. There. So you're actually not supposed to have white spaces in between. So you go back to the last character and type tab twice. You can do it once if you wanted to, just because it would be, you know, one less extra unnecessary keystroke or space. White space especially. That's how you keep white space out of configuration files. But sometimes it doesn't really line up very nice. Yeah, but it's good. So, you know, we go to this. And what I'm looking for is these 3 UUIDs, right? I'm just going to copy this whole silly thing. That's nice when it's simple. I'm going to go back to the FS tab. And I'm basically just going to paste using Shift Insert. And then I can right click copy and paste and correct these values. So my first file system that needs to be loaded is this one. And we will replace this. Oops. And I goofed that up because I tried using Shift Insert and I need to use the right click copy and paste thing because I didn't copy with the keyboard. Paste. There we go. So that's correct. And then I need the swap partition, which is 2. Boot partition, that will be much shorter. It's nice to use these UUIDs. Nobody can guess what an identity for the partition really is. Well, that's very random. And it's very unlikely to be incorrect if you know what it is. And that's kind of the point, that it's more random than another method that can be problematic. So we've got that done. Now we're going to mount the RAM disk. Oh, I forgot to remove these and backspace to the last character. There we go. But it's still loaded. Just, you know, don't leave random uncommented characters like if I were to do this, that would generate an error. You know, it has to be a commented or a line with a command separator character. I think that's what it's called. Well, so now we're going to build packages in memory. So we've got the profile switched, and we're going to check for updates. We're going to change one thing though. So we're going to create the repository configuration. Good. Okay, so that'll work. Then let's see what we can do about this. You know, whatever. So there's lots of stuff that you can configure to these. I have builds that'll do it, right? But so most of these changes would be like desktop stuff, upgrading GCC. We can skip doing that right now. You know, somebody will, oh, this is a lot of stuff I gotta update right now. You don't have to. You know, portage maybe, right? But all of these are for inconsequential purposes that won't stop it from being installed sooner. So but I want to download from my own. We're going to test downloading some package files just to make sure it works. And if it does, it's going to be very fast. Oh man, people sleeping in the fucking streets in the winter. Yep. I don't know. I call that societal failure. But we're just gonna try and download some stuff. Because my mirror didn't have it, or something happened. This isn't downloading from my mirror. Why are you not? I've got, actually my make.conf file is like right here. What am I doing? It's mirrors, yeah, that's what I thought. Didn't quite do that right. Mirror. that should be a little faster now. Sometimes you gotta do the, like, try and test how things will work when you're setting these up. And this is certainly not a different occasion. My web server is a little glitchy though. There's 1 gigabyte a second. You know, Wi-Fi 6 is something really impressive when it gets onto a big file. Or, well, that might have even been a small file. Let me see. Hold on a second. How big? No. Well, 5,000 bytes. That would be why it was so fast. It's easier to edit than create, or there wouldn't be forgers. Oops. No, I'm not going to do that. I want that to be in a very specific place. So, then we're going to edit this. I don't need that in there. I'm not doing development with this, but I am going to do this. That's obsolete. Caps I want. BTRFS I don't need. I don't really need promo print right now, but I'm going to get rid of crypt setup. Device mapper is unimportant. I'm never going to use flat packs. Oh, hilarious. DNS sec. Yeah, why not? ERA3, I don't think so. eMovix, never really even used it. Highly unlikely. Expat's been kind of an old, very useful thing. EPUB, just I don't read ebooks. ePoll is good. You can get rid of fast CGI. FTK, FAT. Flash is dead. You know, I've had some of these config files have been floating around and re-edited every time I needed one for many, many years. So, not running a virtualized Gentoo web server. FPM. I don't think I'll be using PHP right away. Or GNOME. Image formats, iNotify I definitely want. If anything even uses that still. It's probably been mainlined. File system change detection. iThreads. For Perl, that's Perl multi-threading. Seems pretty reasonable to use. Been using it for a very long time. And Java. What? Why not? Java FX. JPEGs and LDAPs. Some terrible libio. I think it's gone. No ZFS this time, I said. Bunch of compression and sensor support is good to have. Mobi, like no, we'll never use. Modern Top, I kind of got tired of that. Didn't really care for it. MPI is good for performance. Use packs like a good format, I think. Why not? Going to support MySQL. Netlink is good for networking, interconnection, monitoring, and stuff like that. NFS servers. We're going to optimize the GCC build. And I've got to remember to do the CPU flags too. So I'm just going through all of these. Plugin, sysinfo, postproc. Now I definitely want pulse audio. And then I have to do thanks for the suggestion. I mean, no space. No, yeah, I made it 14 bytes. That would be one of the problems. Why? Or one of the reasons. Haven't done that before. Yeah, there we go. That's better. There we go. So we're going to Ryzen 9 machine with 12 core, 24 thread. That. And we're going to replace this. If I don't do this, then something can fail to execute because it's incompatible. And it's usually one of the Intel specific ones, and AMD has an AMD specific instruction set or something that make they patented that, and like RD Rand. Okay, great. Make.conf or anything else. So I gotta change the video card to QXL. And we're going to support a bunch of video cards. And we're going to disable this vhosts thing. We're not doing vhosting. We got to bump the Ruby version to 31. And we're not going to be doing, what the hell, I'm not going to use it, but it's not harmed how leaving it set. Right, if you want to run monitoring, system monitoring, you can use collect-d for that. Make graphs and shit. Or, you know, here's virtual machine hosting. just got to turn off some dependencies temporarily until more stuff installs. It's got to be done. Printing I never use anyways, but it's just a temporary. And we get 200 packages to rebuild. Mostly rebuilds, some new installs. That's good. So, got everything set to build, but we don't have to do that right now. We're going to install the kernel package. That's something we have to do. Merge NTP. It's synchronized, I think. It's not, but whatever, I won't change it right now. And I'll just leave it as it is. It's not invalid because it's the same day. But 6 hours ahead. So that's all right. If it was 6 hours behind, then I'd have a problem and I'd really have to fix this now. Before I start building programs, before I start building software code into executable files using Gentoo Linux. Time is important. And since this is a virtual machine, there's some mechanism to synchronize the time of the guest system with the host system. But you can see that it's not adjusted for the time zone that I'm in. It's at UTC because that's the default. So then that is 6 hours ahead of me, which I guess in that case has some advantages because now I should be able to just go ahead and install the kernel package. And if you've read the handbook, you'll probably notice I'm doing a lot of prep before I proceed. Prepare before you proceed. That's what you do a lot of the time with Gentoo, though. You know, once you've got a lot of this stuff set up, you don't have to muck around with it too much. Update once a week. Hello, computer. That's a big package to install. My SATA SSD drives are loving this. Thing handles virtual machines really well. I haven't run it as a virtual machine server very much yet. You know, it's nice to have some of these features turned off, not enabled, like everything, because you can never change this after it's been done with some distros. That's what makes this work very well for me. Like, I don't want to use systemd homed because I use OpenZFS. Maybe there's a way to select a different build of that on a different distribution I'm not aware of, but I've always perceived that not to be an easy thing to change. Let's say if you wanted to have two builds of systemd, one with homed and one without, and when somebody installs it, queues a shell script that starts a user interface to select which one you want when you attempt to update the system. Some people don't like making those chases because they'll pick wrong, and I've done that too. So it's nice to just have the option to have something turned off until maybe you're aware that you don't want to use that or it's not needed. Instead of forced to have to try and disable something. Make it functional. Leave the experience. The experiments are always optional. So we've got FS-tab is done. I did that already, and like we're cruising along really good here. So did all the profile stuff, and I don't know when I started, but it's been an hour and 28 minutes so far in the video. Some of this I was just lost in space, distracted by something else, or trying to figure something else out. Some of it we were doing really handy work, but that's how I work. I just take a pause for a moment, reflect on something while something's busy, and when it's done, work on it again. Get it busy doing something else. So this is only 4 packages. You get like a huge build going, and it can be several thousand, and that'll go like all day on some computers, several days. This one can do 2,000 in less than a day. If it's not doing anything else significant. And then we're going to install Network Manager. And then we'll make we're going to make this a removable disk. I don't do that all the time, but it's good to do. I've helped several people that had that. Issue where their system wouldn't boot because of 19 already. I could probably add more CPUs to this, but whatever. It's still pretty fast. I'll change it before it reboots. Bump it up to 12. Like, that's still pretty fast. Let's be honest. So this performs very well, this configuration with Linux, because of OpenZFS. You know, like there's massive memory bandwidth providing data to OpenZFS to use in memory. And it's a read cache, you know, so everything that gets written out is considered more intensely. Not a lot changing there, but there's some, you know, like that's a 4 megabyte memory cache it's using, 4.2, 11. .4 gig cache, you know, like probably made. It decides what size that can. You can change it if you really need to, but I don't need to. I've not needed to change it on machines with like virtual machine with 4 gigs of RAM. And it like ZFS, what? No big deal. You know, these our cache is supposed to use. People look at this and like, holy shit, you're using 40 gigs of RAM for that. Well, it's just because it was available. It'll use a lot less if it doesn't have, you know, 4 gigs of RAM. And here we go, grub. Package count is closing. We're gonna make a small change. It's after midnight, and this is unacceptable. This is so much better. It's so dark mode. Here we go. So much easier to look at a dark mode terminal console. Much very nicer. There we go. So kernel install, bootloader is configured. And we'll do the networking support. Ooh. Going to do a bunch of package rebuilds later that we don't need to do right now. Before we go digging and build like KDE and install a web browser. But I just want to get it booted reliably. You got to do Linux firmware, networking, bootloader, user password for root user, System services is basically you just add for now network manager, and SSHD is always a good one to start a new build with. And just start installing stuff. Install screens so you can run virtual consoles. Keep these builds going when you're disconnected. I guess I can put the calculator away. So, yeah, there we go. This is a pretty cool thing about this too is you can see the disk I/O graphing kind of deal, CPU usage. Oh, we got a nice little boost there. Maybe even adding more of this wouldn't even be necessary. Currently it's very, very efficient. It's not peaking. And that's a good thing. While I'm running an Arch VM. There we go. A few less virtualized CPU cores to go around. With that running. Incurses that always causes that problem, conflict with GPM. Because the GPM relies on it, and incurses needed an update. Which prompts a rebuild and prompts a conflict. And you just, omit GPM support and let incurses rebuild after GPM is installed. Or let GPM rebuild incurses after its update's installed. It'll be one of them. It's crazy how that works. But it's the way that this operating system handles logic. Turn me into a logic processor. You don't watch TV? I watched some TV. There's a good show on tonight. Ahsoka and the Invasion. And Deadliest Catch was a good TV night tonight. I don't know. wouldn't. Anyways, you could fucking roll it back, man. Just a It works so good in full screen. Even the monitor standby is working. That's pretty cool. It's still installing. I forget what it was, but it was something important. Network Manager. We're still installing Network Manager. I'm just typing up Reddit posts. Oh man. Dude. Oh, wow. I'm not. builds fast in RAM. That's why I don't use this. The default configuration for doing this building software writes all of this to the disk, and if you have SSDs, that just shortens the lifespan of them over several years. So you write that to RAM. RAM is a lot faster than these disks. $89, eh? Jeez. Well, sometimes it takes a while. Network Manager is probably one of the bigger package groups you'll run into early during these installs. But yeah, you get this far. Sometimes you gotta start taking some shortcuts. I try not to configure a lot right away, but already having those config file examples really shortens the amount of time you'll spend doing this. Because you can just set it and forget it, walk away, go watch a movie, and come back in an hour or two. And, you add some more, you got it booted down. And, eventually get a running system. You can start installing desktop packages, configuring your sound, deciding what sound server you want to use. By the time you've done this, you've already decided what graphics driver you're going to use because the kernel's been installed. So it's all software config from here. And, I should have this booted in less than 30 minutes. Maybe not with 51 of 89. I need dbus. So this thing's probably running some updates. I also enabled full 30-qubit support. Yeah, there's, I wonder if I've got it installed on here. Ooh, I do. Total console RGB nerd type stuff. There we go. Okay, we're past the past the GPM needs to be disabled part. And we've got 31 left. And there's nothing really big. but I still haven't actually installed Xorg. That's, you know, yeah, there's 100 packages right there. So, but we're going to just start with the '21. '29. Virtual machine, never going to use Bluetooth. So you might be looking at this, that's really disorganized. Well, I would agree, because I would emerge, UFED. And just save it, and voila, organized. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And here we go. Finish the network manager build. Set the root password. Enable network manager to start on boot. Install screen, and we'll reboot the VM. So that's what 8 cores does to a 12-core AMD CPU. 8 physical cores of load. Well, it's like nothing. Man, the computers that I had when I was 20 years younger were a struggle. So there's also this too, like you can see. But you'd have to run that command in the virtual machine. Oops, wrong one. So the package count is obviously incorrect. You can still check on package builds. How many to do that? Well, crap, that's nothing. Like, one of them isn't actually like a package install, and one of them is a Perl package. So that's not something I would be overly concerned about doing while I'm doing a huge build. So I'll just install that quickly. Right, now it should be correct. Because I'm inside the chroot. But it's not going to work in the chroot because I'm running off a live CD. So, well, we just don't do that right now. It will work, like, you know, if I had run that on my machine, and I had a build running, it would show me the build, shows build time history. But you know, if you're doing updates, you can run this, and it'll show you how long your package has been building for. That was kind of the goal of showing everybody showing you how to do that. So we started at 29, now we're at 14 to 29. Well, there, that was entertaining. You're just gonna fix my little mistake here by not using UEFI. And I'll do that right quickly here. I'm just going to delete the VM, re-import the